Welcome to the best wrestling podcast in the world, the Everything is Wrestling podcast. My name is Nick, episode 3. And for the third time, I feel like I'm saying this, but we have a whole lot to get to. We got Survivor Series and The Bloodline and War Games and Rhea Ripley, and we have Monday Night Raw with The New Day and Dominic Mysterio and Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins and CM Punk. And we have so much stuff to get to that we're going to hop right into it. First, we had Survivor Series this past Saturday, and I feel like this is the official start of the road to WrestleMania 41. So much stuff happened. So much stuff is going to be happening over the next week or so that's going to lead to WrestleMania matches. Let's start with the main event of Survivor Series, and that was the War Games match with Bloodline versus Bloodline with CM Punk. And I knew from SmackDown the night before that this Roman Reigns and CM Punk stuff was going to be petty and messy, and it definitely was. We'll go from CM Punk causing a little chaos in his entrance, shoving and mushing Bronson Reed in the face and Jacob being on the cage, to everything within the cage with Roman and Punk. Roman not allowing Punk to go out and telling Sami to go out. And then when Roman thought it was his turn, Punk pushes him out the way. Just pure messiness and pettiness throughout. And I knew that was going to happen. Thankfully, Paul Heyman came out and kind of settled things during the match. I thought the whole dynamic of the two teams was interesting, with Bloodline 2.0 coming out as a unit and a true faction, coming out together, entering the cage together. Shout out to Tama Tonga being a wild man, just running and climbing around the cage. So cool. And then you had OG Bloodline and Punk coming out individually with individual music. You can tell that they just aren't on the best of terms, any of them. Jey Uso coming out last was a interesting turn, because he probably got the biggest face pop of the whole entire night. The crowd went bananas for the Yeet. And you had Tama Tonga and Jey Uso starting the match. I thought the match overall was great. It was everything I wanted from a match, from a War Games match. It told stories, it had action. Jacob Fatu is a madman. Jimmy Uso brought out moves that we haven't seen from him. He was looking like Jimmy Hardy for a couple of moments. I will say probably either Jimmy or Jacob was probably MVPs of this match. The storytelling was great, with, again, Roman and Punk going back and forth, being petty, to Punk saving Roman with the table spot and Bronson Reed off the top of the goddamn cage. He was on top of the cage doing a tsunami splash. Punk saving Roman. Roman helping Punk up. Roman saving Punk. The whole thing was just pure cinema. It was a movie. It was dramatic. It was action-packed. At the end, with the OG Bloodline team surrounding Solo and Roman having his arms out, I thought that was kind of like a embrace, like I know you've done all this stuff since WrestleMania, but if you want, you can still come to this team and we'll accept you. Solo wasn't having it, so he got all the finishers and with the spear to end it, and we got the 1-2-3 with the OG Bloodline winning the match. Post-match, we had Roman and CM Punk finally embracing with a handshake. We had Paul Heyman outside the cage waiting for all his boys to come out. CM Punk and Paul Heyman's little interaction about a favor being owed was interesting, and I'm sure that would be called back maybe by Rumble WrestleMania season, but we'll hear about that soon enough. And we just end the show with OG Bloodline standing tall, everybody hitting the ones or the go to sleep pose. Just ending as a show. No surprise entrances, no betrayals, none of that. And looking back on it, none of that was needed. We didn't need The Rock. We didn't need anybody from OG Bloodline turning. It was just a great main event overall. Other matches on Survivor Series, the Women's War Games match was decent. My favorite spot was, of course, Io Sky and Tiffany Stratton doing the over the moonsault with the trash can on the head and the swanton bomb off the top of the cage at the same time. That was probably spot of the night. Io using the fire extinguisher as a kind of distraction while Rhea handcuffs Raquel to the ring was cool. Rhea with the riptide to live through the table to end the match was fine. I thought, in my predictions, I thought that the Rhea Ripley team was going to win, and that's what happened. I don't think it knocks the heels at all. We'll just move on and get into our feuds for Saturday Night Main Event for the Netflix show for Royal Rumble. Decent match. If it wasn't for the men's War Games match, I would probably have had Braun Breaker, Kaiser, and Sheamus as match of the night. I thought the Intercontinental title match was a straight banger. It was a great triple threat. I'm okay with Braun Breaker winning. Let him pile up some wins. I don't know if we're getting Braun versus Kaiser next or Braun versus Sheamus next, but we'll see. I'll take either or. I think Sheamus does eventually win that IC title. It's just a matter of when do we hold off to it for the Royal Rumble or are we holding off for a WrestleMania moment? But we'll see. But the match itself was great. Shinsuke versus LA Knight. I thought the right winner won. I love the presentation, the remix of the theme, the look of Shinsuke right now, and I was fine with him winning. I wasn't really happy that this match was even happening at Survivor Series. I thought they could have held off on it for another maybe 2 weeks and did it at Saturday Night Main Event with the same result happening. The match was decent, but I don't know. I think they could have built up this match a little bit more and held off for it for a couple more weeks. But I'm totally fine with Shinsuke winning the U.S. title. It was a good run from LA Knight, but I think it was time to kind of move on and see what Nakamura can do with this title. He still has Carmelo and Andrade around. So the four of them, maybe a fatal four-way eventually for the title. And then we had the Damian Priest versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. The match itself was, I thought, really good. They were both killing each other, hard hitting, new moves, everything. I just did not like the ending. I'm over Damian Priest versus Finn. I don't think we needed it again. It's the same result as what we had at SummerSlam. We're just running it back. I didn't really like the ending. I'm okay with Gunther winning. I thought Gunther was going to win and he'll move on and do something else, which I thought he would do something else. But we're going to run Gunther versus Finn as our night main event. So either, I'm guessing Damian Priest is probably going to interfere in that match and cost Finn the title. Just all right, fine. Give me one more Damian Priest and Finn Balor match. Let it end and let them both move on. The match itself with Damian Priest and Gunther was good up until the end. The Survivor Series PLE as a whole was really good. I enjoyed the whole thing. I thought everybody did well. Everybody looked good. Everybody had their moments just throughout the PLE. Good overall show. I'll give it like an 8.5, maybe a 9 out of 10. I really liked it. Now, coming out of Survivor Series, we did have some injuries and some injuries talked about coming out of that PLE. Triple H said in a press conference that Bronson Reed will probably be out for a few weeks with an ankle injury. And online, there's some replays of him coming from top of the cage, landing, and his ankle kind of twisting and bending to the side. So hopefully it's just a couple weeks. And also in the press conference with the OG Bloodline minus Roman, Jay mentions that Jimmy broke his toe doing the splash off the top of the cage in his spot. Hopefully that's not having him out too long, and we'll see how that goes because I really do want an Uso reunion as a tag team. I don't know if Damian Priest is really injured or not. When he fell off the top rope onto the floor, the shoulder was being grabbed. And then they did run another angle after the PLE with the Judgment Day attacking Damian Priest and Finn hitting Damian Priest in that same shoulder with a chair. And then we didn't see Damian Priest on Monday Night Raw. So I don't know if he's just taking time off and this is just an angle or if he's really injured. I haven't seen anything about it yet. So we'll see and find out that when it comes time. Let's get to Monday Night Raw, and specifically, let's get to the New Day 10th anniversary segment, because what the fuck? What? Everybody was expecting a heel turn one way or the other. I think a lot of people were expecting Big E to come out somehow, some way. I think the most positive thought was maybe Big E is returning to the ring. Maybe Big E is going to be their manager, which I said. I didn't see anyone guess what happened last night. And that was unbelievable. Because what the hell? We start the segment with a recap and a kind of going over the memories and stuff like that with the New Day and Xavier and Kofi coming out and saying their pieces. But and as I forget either Xavier or Kofi was about to say that they're going to go their separate ways, Big E comes out. Big pop for Big E, of course. Everybody loves Big E. And he says his piece. He says he's here. He's going to be here. He doesn't want to see the New Day split after 10 years. That he's going to stick around every single week for his two brothers. And he's going to be their manager. He's going to be at ringside. He's going to be there to help guide them back to where they belong, and that's the tag team champions. All well and good. What happened next I did not see coming at all. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston spent the next 10 minutes of the segment dogging the hell out of Big E, blaming him for their losses, blaming him for not being around. The Kofi Kingston line saying, "Yeah, you broke your neck, so what?" hit so goddamn hard. My God. They did not care that Big E was working the desk and being a part of like the pre and post show for the PLEs, that he had new side gigs that he was working on, that he had a new girlfriend, which is Meechan's sister, by the way. They said, F all that. You're not here. You should be here. Other people have broken their necks and came back. Stone Cold, Edge. They just started naming. Just a horrible, mean, ruthless segment towards Big E. And it was like they went from almost splitting up to Kofi's and Xavier's combined hatred kind of for Big E brought them back together even more so. They basically told Big E to get the fuck out the ring. And then the New Day are still back together. Just not Big E. They kicked Big E to the curb, and now we have heel New Day with Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, and their combined hatred for Big E. It, it was a hard segment to watch. It was a hard segment to listen to. The WWE Universe loves Big E. We love the New Day. And if you're going to do a turn, we did not see a double turn in terms of how this went. Everybody saw a turn coming. We didn't see both Kofi and Xavier turning on Big E. I thought we were like one step away from them really attacking Big E. I'm glad he got out the ring. I don't know where we go from here. I would love to see just more talking and more free talking and not scripted promos. Let them go out live mic and just do their thing. I'm talking about Kofi and Xavier. Because what they did on Monday Night Raw was tough. And if they can do that every week, we got something here. My only problem with the heel turn is that there's no tag teams on Monday Night Raw, really. You have the Viking Raiders and you have the Judgment Day. That's it. Are we gonna beat up Rey Mysterio, which is the go-to for every heel turn? Are we gonna beat up Otis and Tozawa? I guess. But they need to put at least one more tag team on the Raw division. And is Kofi and Xavier remaining a tag team, or are they just going to be a group as heels and go on a singles run individually? I don't see them kind of going after the tag team titles. It could make sense eventually if the Judgment Day loses the titles to a different team and then they go for it. Because if you put this New Day with this Judgment Day, it's going to kind of ruin the heel turn. Because I think we all want to see the Judgment Day lose the titles. So I wouldn't mind them being a group and keeping that group heel hatred and going on singles runs, or being in the tag team. We'll see. But the segment was brutal. It was brutal. It's must watch. It's something I never saw before. A double heel turn like that? No, I don't remember getting that ever. It was great though. It was great TV. Great TV. Damn, Big E. Should have stayed home. Some other stuff that happened on Raw was the beginning of the show. We had a big opening segment with CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn. Sami Uso. It was a great opening segment. We had CM Punk coming out, looking up, saying that his goal is to main event WrestleMania. Seth Rollins interrupting CM Punk because that's what Seth Rollins does. CM Punk said he's not for the personal feuds anymore. He's not about that life. When he first came back, yeah, he wanted to fight Seth Rollins because Seth Rollins had the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins ain't got that no more. So CM Punk has no reason to go after Seth Rollins right now, which makes perfect sense. They start to scrap because it's for Seth Rollins is always on site when CM Punk's involved. Jey Uso and Sami comes out to break it up, and Seth Rollins, being heated, says that Jey Uso should go back to Roman Reigns. We go from one very good promo with Seth and CM Punk to one probably even better promo with Sami and Seth Rollins, with Sami Zayn finally being the one to call out Seth Rollins, saying that he's the one that created Roman Reigns when he put that chair to Roman Reigns' back and broke up the Shield. This is all Seth Rollins' fault. And I'm so happy somebody finally called him out for it. This led to Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins being the main event of Raw. Before the main event happened, we see that somebody attacked Jey Uso. We don't know who it is. Sami clearly thinks it's Seth Rollins. Post-match of Seth Rollins gets the roll up on Sami Zayn, and post-match Seth Rollins saying, "Hey bro, not me. I didn't attack Jey." You know, Sami turns around and boom, Claymore, Black Hoodie, because that's what heels do. Drew McIntyre is back on Monday Night Raw because god damn, do we need more main event talent for some reason? It's stacked right now. Drew McIntyre ends Monday Night Raw standing over Sami Zayn. Great return. We still don't know who attacked Jey. I guess the assumption is that it was Drew, but I don't think so. I think that's kind of a swerve happening. I can see it being CM Punk or Seth Rollins. We'll see. But Drew ends Monday Night Raw standing over Sami Zayn. Great opening and closing segments of this show. The main event of Monday Night Raw is completely stacked right now. And again, this is one of the reasons why I'm saying that this is the road to WrestleMania. These main event guys are all here. They're all back. They're all ready to go. Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Gunther, Damian Priest. Main event stacked. WrestleMania time is here. We had the first round of the Women's Intercontinental Title Tournament. We had a triple threat with Chance, Baszler, and Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai picks up the win, so she's the first person to move on in that tournament. Let me pull up that tournament really quick, because this is the first time I saw the actual bracket. Yeah, Dakota Kai moves on. In her side, the next triple threat is Zoe Stark versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Kayden Carter. I have Raquel winning that. On the other side, we have Alba Fire versus Kairi Sane versus Natalya. I kind of have Natalya winning that round. And then the one that's kind of tough for me is this top bracket. We have Lyra, Zelina, and Ivy Nile. In my head, I had Lyra and Zelina being in the finals. So I don't know what the hell I'm thinking now. I remember is that a couple weeks ago on Raw, they ran 2 segments with Dakota Kai and Lyra. And I think that's going to play. I have Lyra and Dakota Kai being in the finals of this IC title tournament. We'll go Lyra as the first women's Intercontinental Champion. One other really interesting thing that I saw last night on Raw was Dominic Mysterio getting cheered in his match versus Gunther. It's the first time for everything. The crowd was actually chanting Dirty Dom, like positively. And in the match with Gunther, he was playing a combination of that Rey Mysterio underdog babyface with that Eddie Guerrero lie, cheat, and steal character. He did hit Gunther with the low blow. He was taking the hits like a babyface. Yeah, he got the loss. But that's something to really pay attention to over the next few months into a year is we might get a natural turn for Dominic Mysterio. Oof. Going from maybe the top heel to potentially being the top babyface. That's what happens when you're a 20-year vet, I guess. But it's really interesting. Pay attention to that. So we have Saturday Night Main Event in a couple weeks, December 14th. And we had two matches announced for Monday Night Raw. We have Gunther versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. And we now know that Liv versus Io is happening for the Women's World Championship at Saturday Night Main Event. And that goes with Cody versus KO for the Undisputed title. So that's three matches on the card. I'm expecting probably two more to be announced with SmackDown side. It's lining up to be pretty decent. I was thinking about Cody versus KO yesterday and the fact that it's for the undisputed title. But since Bad Blood, KO hasn't brought up that title at all. That the title is not a motivation for him winning a match with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes hasn't brought up defending the title. Like they made it a title match, yes. But Kevin Owens, the prize fighter, does not care about that undisputed title. At least he hasn't since Bad Blood. And that's really interesting that the driving force behind Kevin Owens is just really his thought of being portrayed by Cody Rhodes. Nothing to do with the title. It's why I kind of think that we're either going to end with a ref stoppage or a DQ because the Undisputed Championship is not on Kevin Owens' mind at all. I went back and watched a couple of the segments and promos from them too. And the title is very much secondary in this feud. Now, we still have two more SmackDowns to go before Saturday Night Main Event, so that could change in the next 2 weeks with them bringing up the championship. But right now, that feud is based solely on Cody teaming with Roman and KO not liking that shit. Which makes this feud even more interesting. It's not a typical championship match. It's really about Kevin Owens feeling betrayed by the snake, Cody Rhodes. Pay attention to that as we get into the next few weeks. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really interesting that Kevin Owens can actually get his second world title, and he just doesn't seem to care about that at all right now. It's all about getting and giving Cody what he's due right now, and that's an ass whooping. I wanted to talk about heel and face turns because we had a bunch recently over the last maybe 3 or 4 months. We had Roman Reigns coming back as kind of a face tweener. We had Miz turning heel on R-Truth. We just had the New Day turning completely heel on Big E. And I wanted to talk about who some other wrestlers can be that can either turn heel or turn face over the next, let's say, 5, 6, 7 months. Over the next 4, 5, 6 months, I think we're going to get a Dominic Mysterio face turn. Just from the reaction of the crowd when he fought Gunther on Monday Night Raw, they were chanting for him. I think that he'll be separating from Liv eventually, and he'll be separating from Finn in the Judgment Day sooner than later. And I think we're going to get a face run from Dominic Mysterio. Two things that can lock it in, really, is him turning on Finn, him getting away from Liv, possibly saving Rhea one time, or him coming out and making the save for his father, Ray. I think that would just lock in the face turn completely, and we can have a new top babyface in WWE very, very, very soon. With a heel turn, I think over the next 4 to 5 months, I would like to see either Randy or Cody turn heel. I don't really care which one. In my mind, I want them to face each other at WrestleMania, but I don't want it to just be a Cody offering Randy a title shot because, hey, he deserves it. No, I want some hatred between the two. So I'm okay with Randy turning heel on Cody or Cody eventually making that Homelander heel turn and Randy being the first guy to truly step up and try to take Cody down. Either way, I think it can work, but I would want one of those two to turn heel. I don't need them both to turn heel, but one of those two between now and Mania 41. I think one of them, either Cody or Randy, should turn heel. Another person I think could possibly and maybe I would want to turn heel is CM Punk. Now, I know the story is being played like Seth Rollins is the one being teased to turn heel and crash out versus CM Punk, but I would love to see CM Punk in a heel role this time around. I think CM Punk is best as a heel. Him as a babyface has been cool this past year. Him being just happy to be here and just fighting to fight, having a personal feud with Drew McIntyre has been great. But the true CM Punk is I want him as a heel. I would like to see him play up to who people think he is, and that's that arrogant, standoffish, asshole type character. And also the I'm bigger than this company type character. That's something we haven't fully seen from him in WWE, and I would love to see it play out in the next few months. Forget Seth Rollins being a heel. I think we've seen that before. I would love to see this version of CM Punk be a heel. Talking heels, I think we have to talk about whoever turned on Jade. Whether that's Bianca, Naomi, Bailey, someone else. I would love for it to be Bianca. Bianca going from a super over babyface in the women's division to a super over heel in the women's division by being the one to attack Jade could get very interesting come WrestleMania 41. I know the storyline is that she'll be out for a couple months. So what if that happens around the Rumble Elimination Chamber time? And it was revealed that it was Bianca that turned on Jade. Instant heel turn. And it will push Jade even further up in terms of being a babyface in the women's division. If it's Naomi, same thing. If it's Naomi being the heel and attacking Jade, she would probably have to attack Bianca eventually. Go for it. Either or, Naomi or Bianca being a heel, I think will be worth the risk. And it'll be pretty good. And one more on my list of turning them from face to heel or heel to face is Bloodline 2.0. I don't think it's happening anytime directly soon, but those four, not counting Bronson Reed if you take Bronson Reed out of the mix, but those four with Tama, Tonga, Jacob, and Solo, I think outside of them, just who they are, just as people, I think people want to cheer for them. They're outrageous, they're crazy, they're funny, they're sarcastic. I'm loving them more and more, and it's as simple as just how the Shield back in the day was heels, and just until they turn around and attack Kane and attack the Authority. That's how easy you can flip Bloodline 2.0. I don't think we'll get it between now and Mania 41, but maybe after Mania 41, I think we can slowly get that flip. The crowd is already doing the yeahs with Tama. The crowd is already doing the I love you Solo with Jacob. Solo is making people laugh. Tangaloa is just a nutcase. I like those four. They can be these over badass baby faces. Maybe post WrestleMania 41. That's my list of who should either turn babyface or heel. Let me know if you have more in that list. I would love to hear from. I think I named 5 or 6 people. I think that's pretty good. But that Bloodline 2.0, they can be over as badass faces. Over. Dom too. All right. That's the podcast. This is episode 3 of Everything is Wrestling. My name is Nick. You can follow me on all socials at notnick_s. You can listen to the podcast on Spotify right now and Apple Podcasts right now. and you can watch the video on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Until next time, we're out of here. Oh, and acknowledge your tribal chief.